sippin', I'm 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 sippin'.
Sippin', I'm 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 sippin'.
I was like, they stole my shit.
Yo, you so stupid, yo. So this is Sippin' with Sammie. I am Sippin' with Sammie, Sam Malone, Barstool, Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammie, you ain't sippin' right. Get your fucking life together. And I'm in here with my guy, man. I got Mason with me. Mason, what's good?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Ain't nothing. I see you sipping. I'm gonna sip with you.
There we go.
I heard that. How you holding up, brother?
Yo, I really can't complain, man. I'm blessed. I'm definitely blessed right now.
That's good. That's good. So you been quarantining, or you still working, or what you been doing? Working from home?
You know, I cut back big time on my amount of time in the studio, and this has been the longest. Like, I spent the longest amount of time away from the studio that I have in the past 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I've been getting in and getting a couple of things done. You know, like just some records for syncs and stuff like that. But I'm being extra safe about it for sure.
That's what's up, man. I like to find out how all the creatives and the people that are entrepreneurs are holding up, because it's different for everybody in this right now, depending on what you got going on.
Yeah, I mean, the studio life is way different. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be, I was in the studio all day and night. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we had to cut it off for a little while. I think we made the smart move, like, you know, going home and staying home for a solid month. You know what I mean? And not even like going in there to work with one engineer. And now, you know, I'm just going in. I did a real deep clean, like literally just spent like 7 hours just cleaning the whole spot the other day. But mostly I'm just finding other ways to be creative. You know what I mean? And getting in touch with that creative energy outside of the studio again. So that's cool.
That's what's up. That's what I like to hear. That's what I've been trying to encourage people to do if possible. At least that way is good for your mental health. Because business is going to be what it's going to be, and everybody's going to take a hit right now. So we can't really complain about being affected, because everybody's being affected, unless you own toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Right.
Unless you had stock in that, man. Sheesh. No, but I wanted to ask you that first before we really get into it. Give my audience a little background on exactly what you've done out here, business wise, creative wise.
So, it's been 11 years of me being an artist. I started out writing rock songs, and then I'm much better of a rapper, and I realized I wanted to be in the spotlight, so I started rapping, and I kind of had one of those really lucky starts. You know, I got right into making music, and then once I started rapping, I got signed pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what it was cracked up to be.
Say that.
I had to go with the punches, and just continue to develop my pen, mm-hmm. and develop my singing voice, and some business ethics and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
To go from playing major stages, and you know what I mean, like I rocked with a bunch of dope people like Cypress Hill, Snoop Dogg, Lupe Fiasco.
Wowzers.
Got to do the bigger show side of things, and I love that. And then just really developed the songwriting stuff. Recently, I have a record on EA Sports NHL 20.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. We had the premiere of Broad City on Comedy Central. I got a segment like on Cartoon Network right now. And just been, and then obviously running over at Breed Studios.
Right.
Which, was the legendary Larry Gold's spot.
Absolutely.
Which has been amazing. We had a great year last year.
Mm-hmm.
We had people like Ty Dolla $ign, YBN Corday, YBN Namir, Carl Thomas, a whole bunch of people, man. I know I'm forgetting. Prior to that, like Post Malone and stuff like that. So I've just been working on growing my own personal brand and developing as an artist, and then helping the Breed music brand grow as well.
Absolutely. Well, every time I talk to you and every time I bump into you, you have more and more things that you add into the arsenal. So I definitely want to salute you and congratulate you on everything all the placements that you have currently. But as far as Breeze Studios, I want to salute that situation because it's a great facility. It's dope. It's everything you need in a studio situation. It got the chill space and everything. The big room or the A room and the B room are both sufficient. I like what y'all got going on in there. And we was actually supposed to film this there, but we'll get to that later. We get around to it.
We definitely gonna get in another time for sure.
Absolutely, man. So how did you wind up getting the old Larry Gold space?
So my partner Tony Moore, he had it. He had it when it was bare bones, man. He got the bare bones space and then started to slowly rebuild it to resemble that other spot. At the time when I came around, when I started going around was years ago. I was first working as a patient transporter at Penn Presbyterian Hospital. And I had just moved back from LA and I was like kind of trying to find my place. So I started working with Yanti, the Noise from Willenboro. He's one of like the godfathers of Willenboro. And he started kind of convincing me to get more into singing.
Okay.
As I started doing that, he brought me around through Breed Studios. I met Tone, and I really just started bothering the hell out of people. Like, I went for the majority of my career up until that point. I was really like on some stupid ego stuff. Like I was always like, why? If they want to make their records better, to work with me, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like you can tap me to work if you just hurt. You know what I mean? Just dumb stuff, ego stuff that you get into. Like you're still a boy trying to move in a man's world.
Right.
And I had completely shed that. So I did the opposite. I was just in there. Like once I got into Breed, I didn't stop showing up, and I just kept being like, "Hey guys, just so you know, if you need somebody to write on this, and they told me no like a million times. But you only need that one time to prove what you got. You know what I mean? And some people are like, I'm one of those people that like when the pressure's on, I'm better. So when I got that shot finally, you know what I mean, I was able to be impressive enough to kind of just infiltrate. And I'm naturally one of those kind of people that I'm the dude that like if I could be at my wedding and I'm try and help the caterers, you know what I mean, like clean up plates. You know what I mean? It's just like the way that I was brought up was just that kind of person.
That's dope though. Yeah.
I thank my parents for that, man, because it goes a long way. You learn a lot from being that way. And it becomes like, it's a respectable thing. It's a respectable way to be. Now everything I do is respectable. That's for damn sure. But in that regard, it was that. And so I could edge some of the annoyingness of me being like, yo, can I get on everything? And then I actually had a property management company and I was succeeding in that. And then I was around Breed and working with people like Boyz II Men as a songwriter. And I'm like, I'm doing these two things at the same time. And I'm like, yo, if I focus all of my energy into just music stuff and run my music business like how I run my property management business, I could really take a run at this. So I started doing that. I got my LLC and started an artist services company. Because like from Moving and Shaking, I knew like a lot of people that produced, wrote, did videos, photography, everything that an artist could need. And like coming from like being the artist, you kind of know how to deal with artists a little bit better. Like, you know what I mean? Than somebody that's just like a regular suit.
Absolutely.
So I started that, and then I used Breed as one of the main studios to bring clientele through. And then I just kept bringing clientele through, and kept building a relationship. And now, like me and Tone is like my big brother, man. Like I've learned so much from him. I owe him the world. Like, if you look at my Instagram right now, you know what I mean? I was singing his praises earlier because we're gonna do. I'm going to IG Live tomorrow. We got like, he put me on a record with Jadakiss, man.
Wow.
I was like, yo, I owe you life for that. Like for that alone.
That's
really
dope.
He speaks so much into my life, man. And he kind of just took me under his wing, and we just kept growing and building the relationship. And then I just tried to reflect the example that he set for me, and just kind of be that for some of the cats that are a little bit younger than me. It's been building ever since.
Word. Well, Mason, this is Saf. This is my co-host, Saf. You there with us? You can hear us?
Yo,
Yo.
Yo,
can you hear me?
Yep, you good.
Yo.
So what I was about to say to Mason real quick was you touched on a few things that we talk about on this platform a lot. One of the things you said was that early on you got your break, which means that you're creative, you're a talent. Somebody recognized that very early on for you, and then you went through the ups and downs of it and you dealt with that and figured out a way to come out of that and what else you wanted to do opposite of that because of that. Right? Then you said that you got to a point where you was in the space, this mind state of, well, if you want to be fire, come fuck with me and get this fire. And then you said it wasn't even natural to your personality, I don't think. So it didn't work for you. You know what I mean? To the extent of when you got with your partner now, blended something, figured something out with another person that had something on the bar that was working in your direction, and y'all made something that is phenomenal. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of people got to step outside of themselves to do all of those things, to accomplish the first step, to bounce back from the second step, and to have the knowledge or the wisdom to approach the third step the way that you did to be in a position that you're at now, because you said you weren't working out of a position of necessity. You could create on your own, and you had a business that was doing well. So you could have just as well kept it moving. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to point out those things because a lot of people miss those points, and they always feel like it's supposed to be an overnight thing. It's an overnight thing for some people, but it's greater later for them too when that doesn't work out if they do the right things. And you're an example of that. So I wanted to point that out before we kept it moving.
Yeah. I think, I think especially in the music industry, if just because there's different levels of success. I was actually just building with my guy earlier today, and we were talking a little bit about this, but there's different ways that people succeed, right? So like you might have more financial success, which might be an asshole and like go home at night and hate who you are. You know what I mean? So really it's just about self-growth and self-awareness, to allow yourself to figure each part out individually. And as long as you're growing in one direction or another, then you're succeeding. You know what I mean? It's only if you're stagnant. That's the only way to not grow is if you're stagnant. And so like people don't realize, man, it's just like, yeah, you could be super, super famous and successful at a young age and then end up dying of an overdose because you weren't able to address the other demons. Yeah, and after you get but so hot, now you can't humble yourself to go to Target to sustain until you figure something else out to get a job. But I always tell people, because we're in this internet age and the social media age, and you'll see people that's like, well, these 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds is trying to rap and trying to do music, figure out something else. And I always say a lot of these people that they talking about are supporting their families off of doing what they love and being creative. And even if they have a second job, they're supplementing a large portion of their income with shows and merch and stuff like that that's helping their situation. And everybody don't want to be Lil Wayne. It would be beautiful to be Lil Wayne, but a lot of people don't even want that attention that have the talent. So if they can make $100,000 a year, then they're successful. Just like if you great and you don't make it to the NBA, are you not supposed to go overseas and get that money for doing what you love? You got to figure it out. So each one's journey is different. So success is absolutely different to everybody, and it should be. Yeah, you got to block it out. You can't even think. You can't be worrying about people that talk like that. Because people that talk like that are the ones that's scared to take risks. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I don't know. You know what? This is a good topic because I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this. Do you feel like that narrative is starting to die? Because I kind of feel like that narrative is starting to die. I feel like you got Anderson .Paak. The biggest rap group right now is Griselda. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me. Dave East, and then you got like the other artists like that have found success, finding different levels of success, like a Childish Gambino, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you, Atlanta, and now Lil Dicky and his show and stuff like that.
It's a great show.
They found success in all different kinds of areas and at different ages, And you know, you hear Anderson .Paak's story, and he's like, yeah, 30. He literally is at like 31, and his family are couch surfing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's with Dr. Dre like the next month.
Yep.
So it's like, I think that the narrative that narrative is starting to die. I hope that it does.
Well,
because we don't see it in other music.
My opinion, and that's my point exactly. My opinion on it is the narrative exists because the genre is so young. We're the youngest genre, so we haven't seen it grow. We've just starting to see Jay-Z's put out 444s and a Nori put out an album at an older age and still be a Nori within a certain way, and seeing how hip-hop can mature gracefully. A lot of the times when we looked at older rappers, they was fucked up because they didn't have anything else going on. They didn't set up for whatever they could. You know, they didn't have the business opportunities that a Jay-Z had or things like that. Nowadays, the genre is getting older. So we're going to see it grow. And so the narrative is going to shift because we still going to have, just like I tell people all the time, you keep complaining about what's on the radio, but there's guys out here that I know that's still spitting that hip hop that you like, and they putting out projects all the time, and you got to tap into them and get with them. And a lot of people are doing that. That's how you get a Griselda. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they've been doing that for a long time consistently. Built a brand of a bunch of motherfuckers in all type of shapes, sizes, and colors that love what they do and miss that feeling. It's out here. So I think that it is starting to change, but I think that the people, it's like us versus them. And we're on the inside, and we pay attention to all of the things that's going on. They just look at the outside narrative of it, and they don't really see that part of it. Like, a lot of them might think that Benny is a young boy.
Right. Right, without even seeing.
You see what I'm saying? Just assume it, because people are calling them the new locks. So now you just assume they some young street niggas that got an old soul.
So to his question, I wanted to say, hey, how are you? Hey, Mace. I wanted to say, I definitely think that the narrative is dying, but I think it taps also into the things that you were just mentioning, like self-growth and knowing who you are and putting aside a lot of negativity and kind of going for your own drive and your own passion, right? I also think, to your point, Sam, the genre is young, and I think early on, most people, not all people, were dependent on labels, right? Mm-hmm. So now we have our own lanes, and with that, it took a lot of growth and development, like with A&R and learning how to maintain a business, how to establish business, and how to network, and how to communicate effectively, and how to, like, there's a lot of things.
Get better management that gives you more options,
and I think.
I say get better management that gives you more options.
Absolutely. So I just think it's all about the growth of the genre. I think a lot of it is just the growth. Like, we're growing. So I think that speaks to some of it as well. I do agree that the narrative is dying. I'm happy that it is. And I can't wait till it's dead.
I mean, art is art, man.
Yeah. Access to information is a key too, because you needed people in the game that strove as far, like they were striving as far as Hove did. You know what I'm saying? Like, where
just like we needed a Luke.
Even right now, like, I just saw the headline today in the source that the Ball brothers are signing to Rock Nation.
Yeah,
like,
all three of them.
You need the time to, because it's definitely a black-white thing as well. It's not just a genre thing. Because, like, me and a couple of my OGs, like, we talk about it all the time, where it's just like, in the white world, it's a lot more of you're based on your biggest accomplishments, and in the black world, it's a lot more. We're more like, what have you done for us lately?
Can I speak to that first part real quick before you go on?
I was getting to that too, because you're not talking about that all
because
the time. So
one of my points that I've been trying to make is, now that they're admitting that hip hop rap music is bigger than rock music, how come the contracts don't look nearly the same as the contracts they was getting way back when it was, like, I don't understand how, like, that's completely racist. That's blatant racism. If we're bigger than rock has been and we don't get the same offers that they've been getting for our biggest artists. And there's some people, I mean, Drake gonna pull something in, and a couple other people is going to get what they get from those people that's going to use those establishments and those platforms. But I'm just talking about overall, just as a genre, when you can monetize everything, and y'all are monetizing every part of what we doing and trying to sign 360s for everybody.
Yeah, there's definitely some malicious parts of it. I mean, it's all malicious, but one of the big parts of it too is that hip hop is such a rebel voice in every piece of it. You know what I'm saying? Like even the dumbest hip hop stuff is the rebel stuff.
Absolutely.
Right? And they know that they can't keep a leash on it. So like the pious people up in hip hop are all saying own your own, keep your own. Metallica and those like stuff, AC/DC and stuff like that, they kept them so happy and sitting where they are, they were never gonna leave a major. But
and they put out albums where they felt like it.
What's that?
And they put out albums when they felt like it.
Right. They did. They kind of just did. And I mean, it was a heyday. It was a different time. But right now, the music industry's scared. They're scared because the power is shifting to the audience, and to the artists, and they got to figure out a way to either escape that, or they're just gonna have to move on to another dead animal to scavenge.
They gotta negotiate. They gotta make up for what they did to the Cold Crush. Y'all own everybody's music. All these labels is surviving off of owning everybody's shit, everybody's masters. Y'all still making money off a lot of people that ain't seen an industry check in years. Y'all gotta bring some of that capital to the table and stop upping the board's money and figure out a way to give back to the people that put generations of y'all kids through private school.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it
at all. So that's why it's fuck them.
I think that speaks to the nation as a whole, right? It's interesting. You know how I always bring some things. I bring a different perspective. But I think that speaks to the nation as a whole, right? It was always interesting that they said that if they paid us reparations, it would break the economy. And the amount that we would be paying, we would pay reparations is similar to the stimulus amount that they just released, right? So I think it just goes back to all of that. You can apply that to not only to this industry, but just our government, the economy, our country, today, the world, just generally, it can be applicable all over. Like,
well, there's rules in politics that have to change. Like if you run for something and you stand on a platform, you cannot specifically say that you're giving to a specific race. You have to say urban. You have to say a number and under. You have to say something like that. You can never say I'm giving this to black people. You can't talk like that.
But
You're not allowed to.
Why not though? I mean, we built this country literally.
No, they don't. They're not allowed to.
Built this, but they should. I mean, why not? They can give and not even being biased or racist to anything, but they can give money to every other people who are not even from here or live here. They give money to countries and people who are not affected on a day-to-day by the economy and the everyday going on and happening in this country. And we built it. So we built it, and we still are in the fight and the struggle, and we owe it's our debt. It's like a collector, right?
Right.
If you owe somebody that money, they collecting that debt. It don't matter how they getting it. They're getting that debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, just to that topic, I also wanted to bring out, like, it brings back to the resource and access. I always talk about that, Rue. You know, I always talk about a lot of the problem is the lack of resource and access. So I think also, again, with us being entrepreneurs and us being more independent and us taking our own matters in our own hands, is kind of enabling us to develop, enrich, motivate, and get where we're not. So I agree with you about it's a lot about the lack of resource and access, or not even the lack. It's just resource and access, whether you have it or not. I think it comes down to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath for the government to give me anything.
Word.
Like, period. And I think that mentality is broken in the music industry too. Like, I've never heard so many interviews of people saying, "Be independent, go independent, do it this way," or "I did it this way, it didn't work. This is why. Own your own stuff."
But Prince and Dame Dash was crazy.
And that ultimately goes into Sam, what you were saying about the age. Like, you can only have maturity with age. You know what I mean? You can only have experience with time. So, but the thing is that that's a great thing about minorities in this country, is that we're used to getting beat down. So
Bill said shit. You said that last part.
You see a crack in the door. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, so there's no timidness. So it's like, once we open the door to entrepreneurship, we were in. Like, look at how fast it went from no black billionaires to mad black billionaires.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's always going to be, because that adversity, it breeds success. It really does. So as long as we're as long and I just want people to have their eyes open. Just keep your eyes open to what they're, what's going on in the industry. The one thing that I crack down on my team about, or at least I'm talking about it as much as possible, is study, man. Pay attention to what these people are doing, what they've done, and
Sure.
and it's very, very easy to see what they're gonna do once you know, because it's all the same thing. Like
It's like
as far as
chess.
the music
You already
industry-
know.
The music industry is just, it's just all right. It's the king that's about to shift rule, right? He's got all the subjects that are just under him, and they all worship that king, but they know an army's coming through the door. You know what I mean? That's the streaming services and all the different things that happen in the integration of the internet and applications to create a whole new wave. And right now, it's like they're just stuffing gold into their pockets, and they're gonna try and run away. You know what I mean? And then they'll get to whatever next city that the empire hasn't gotten to yet, and they'll run it out. Which is why Hov went into sports, because he's like, no, like you're not gonna do that to the black community. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
Like, and it was a natural move for him to go there, because he knows where, and he knows where we're getting preyed on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is in sports and music and entertainment.
You said that better than I was about to say that. When you said the preyed on was better than I was even thinking. That was worded perfect.
Right. Let me ask you this question. Do you think, going back to your last statement where you said, like, we went from like no black millionaires or billionaires to, quite a few now, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that they have a responsibility to enrich our community?
No, I don't. I don't think that. I guess the word responsibility. Do I think they should have a responsibility? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Do I think that it is their responsibility? No, because people are like, that's a journey, man. Like, it's a journey like anything else. You could be lacking empathy your whole life and succeed in every other area.
I got a question though. I have a question.
Hold on, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish though. But see, I kind of differ. I kind of disagree with you on that. And I'm not saying to give people money, but I say to maybe again allow them to, so maybe providing those access and that resource to them. So maybe programs and like maybe like a certain program in any like music. We know music is not in schools anymore, right? We know Jay-Z is a billionaire. So maybe in the New York schools, do you think that he may have a responsibility to help? And I'm not saying the world, but maybe where you come from. I come from Philly. If I was a billionaire and I'm interested in music, I may want to put a couple mil or a mil, however as appropriate, to establish a program so that our children are receiving the information and knowledge of music, like things of that nature. Do you think that that's...
No, I agree. I agree that that it's something that should be done. But responsibility is like, I guess like the way that I'm looking at the word responsibility is like an obligation. And I see that as I would have that obligation. I would feel that obligation. I would feel that responsibility. They should do that. But I also recognize that people are walking journeys that I don't understand, right? So like sometimes, like you ever see somebody who was a giver, give over and over and over again, and then just be broken down and not want to give anymore?
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely.
And then the minute that they decide to focus on themselves, they see success. Like you could just be afraid to give, but what you really got to work out in your personal growth is to say, oh, the past scenarios are irrelevant, or what I was giving or how I'm giving shouldn't be with expectation. Now, I think that anybody, no matter who you are, should have the freedom to go about that journey the way that it meets you. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm not going to look down upon somebody that's not giving back, in a like more egregious way. Like as like, I wouldn't want to have to judge them for that, but I would rather like, debate them on it and say, this is why, like, what I mean? Like you don't, it's like with checking in with people, right? Like if you're somebody that's going to call, if you're the caller, right? If you're the friend that calls all your friends and checks in on them, you can't do that with the expectation of all your friends to check in.
I'm gonna call you back. Exactly.
They're not in that growth process. And I was talking with my friend about this earlier. I was just like, yo, you are really good at being a friend. you can't expect everybody to be just as good as you at being a friend, and you can't stop being an example.
I had
'Cause you
that
never know.
conversation a few times with my
We
friends.
were just talking about that too, like a few days ago.
Yeah, I had
It's
that conversation with my friends a few times, especially like I got some great friends, man. I can't front, man. Salute to y'all. But go ahead. This is good.
Yeah, you gotta check. I mean, checking in. But like somebody gotta be the example, right? And so the thing that I think will happen is naturally that pressure. Like imagine being Nas, right?
Mhm.
And then not like Nas looks at Jay and is motivated by everything he does. They probably do things differently. They take things to different levels. They go into different spaces, but he's not gonna not give back to his community with that. Like it's not gonna happen because like you're gonna start to grow. And I feel like it's important for that to happen naturally, because if you're in a position of power and you're giving back to your community, there's something about a tinge of when things are given charitably, like willingly, versus when it's
Absolutely.
Required. Exactly.
Absolutely.
They feel like they have to. Like I
Exactly.
believe in like that energy being put into things. Like I believe like if you were to build a school and you were like, and you did it because like somebody twisted your wrist about it, like I really believe that like that could
Versus the LeBron, like that person with the arm twist versus the LeBron who's just doing it because he feels it's his moral responsibility.
Can I-
That's what he wants to do.
because he then made sure he did every piece of it right because he was passionate about it, right?
Mhm,
So I'm careful about when you ask the question. I'm careful about judging people about it. Or I'm not saying that you were judging, but like I wanted to be clear in saying like I don't think it's best to judge or twist anybody's arm about giving back. But I do think that they should feel an obligation.
Yeah.
I
Find
think.
your
that's
way-
another-
Hold on,
But you know,
Saf.
that's
Hold
another-
on,
but hold
Saf.
on.
Real quick,
Go
Saf.
ahead.
Real quick, Saf. Real quick.
Go ahead.
I think you made your point well, also, Mason. And Saf, my question, actually, you kind of cleared it up because you opened it up a little bit. But my point, I guess, would be that there's so many ways to influence or do for your community, and a lot of the times, and I know you know that, but I know like a lot of times, like people in general might look at it where it becomes well, how much did they spend on the hood thing?
Right.
And it's not always
Right.
about that. It's about sometimes your influence that you can use for the hood. You know, it don't have to come directly out of your pocket. There's also the fact that young black kids could look up to you and be inspired by you, and you know what I mean, things like that. But as far as responsibility, I agree that responsibility is a strong word, but hope, wish, I'm obligated in my mind because of the way that I was raised. And I mean, that starts from
Right.
my grandfather feeding kids in the back of the barbershop. You know what I mean? Like I always done what I can, and I'm gonna continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. But I definitely feel what both of y'all are saying, because we all feel the same way that you should. But you can't say that somebody that comes from nothing is obligated to nobody else.
No, I'm not saying so. I'm not saying like that.
No, I'm not
you're
saying
it
you
like
are,
that,
but go
I'm
ahead,
not saying it like that. But
Yeah.
but I want to go a little further because that's the problem also with people, not us, just generally speaking.
Mhm.
People look at things like people can't
Monolithic.
take constructive criticism, or they can't take like a resolve. Like a problem with us is we're saying that there's a lack of resource and access, right?
Mhm.
So if going back to the prior comment is that we're not looking for the government, then who we got to look to? Ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So I
Absolutely.
feel like we are socially responsible to pull each other up. He ain't heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my point to it. Not that they are demanded to do that, but if we actually want to see the empowerment of us, and we not getting it from nowhere else, then
How do you feel about the theory? I heard something recently that you'll never be able to get everybody your skin color on one page, but you could absolutely get your tribe on the same level.
I agree with that, and it starts with a tribe. Just like with LeBron, there was a school in, I want to say, Harlem, probably 10 years prior to that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it started as a school, but it started as a movement. And the principal of a school started it block by block.
Mhm.
So it's not about a whole. You can't not even in a skin color. You can't do any group by the mass. You got to start small
Yeah.
and work your way out.
And that's the thing,
And
because
that's my point.
with that, when you think about it that way, then everybody's not going to be caught under that net.
Right, but
So
everybody
when
each
you
one,
say,
each one, you do your
so
own.
so when you say who do we go to, what do we look to? We look to like-minded motherfuckers that's under that net on all levels, just like they do with charity, just like they doing with the All-In Challenge. You could pay $1 million for some shit, or you could pay $10 and possibly win some big shit too. So we need motherfuckers with $10, and we need the motherfuckers with $1 million, and we need to stop announcing and broadcasting everything before we figure it the fuck out.
And that's exactly what I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that, because there are a lot of people who have the knowledge but don't have the capital or don't have the access. I don't even care about the financial aspect of it, but you might know something that he knows, and I got the answer to both of it. You know what I mean? To help both of you, but we need to collectively come together, and not even collective, just come together, communicate.
It's a poor man in North Philly right now, and that can affect the community worth of kids if we give him the resources, like you say, and the access to the tools that he needs.
For sure, and like I said, it's not even financially. If you just gave him the communication,
no,
just the platform for the information.
I mean, if we open up one of these fucking gyms that's sitting here not doing nothing in the city, one of these buildings, and give him a conference room, one of these storefronts, and give him a space to have a program to bring them kids through. Like, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't talking financial either, but I'm talking about, like, we know people, and we.
But a lot of people do think that. A lot of people, that's their first thought is financial. Like,
and let's be clear,
it's not about the money.
And let's be clear on this platform. I'm pretty sure Mason, I'm gonna speak for you on this too, but everybody that works around me and does what we do and that's having this conversation, we're active in our community at our level right now. So we're not saying it asking other people to do. We're trying to galvanize and just open it up. So go ahead.
And I salute the people who are doing it now. Like, there are many of people, so let's not even forget.
They make my job easier.
It's clear.
They make my job easier. All I gotta do is help them. Right. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't have time, but I could get, they could set it up. I'll follow through.
Mm-hmm. For example, though, of what you were saying, right? Which you were saying, it's hard for people to take constructive criticism. I've been learning this lesson really, really hard, which is like, it's more effective to just meet people where they are. And so, like, that's kind of what I was speaking to about saying, like, using the word responsibility and holding any weight with it, and then like giving people constructive criticism, because if they're not ready to hear it, it's not going to matter. So imagine if there's a multimillionaire, right? The difference, and he can make a difference. What if the only reason why he's not making a difference is because he never thought of a good way, right? And now, if the first conversation with him is, you never give back to your community, right, it might be years before he gets back around to it. Instead, the conversation can be, hey, I was thinking of this great way to give back, and this is the reason why. Now, if they hit you with something, as they might be able to explain the situation. Well, I got this charity thing that I got in because sometimes, right? Sometimes people don't like. Sometimes people's thoughts and what they can do to give back is out of our tax bracket and out of our mind. You might go to somebody and be like, yo, you're worth $5 million and you don't give back anything to your community. And they're like, and you don't even know, like, they have a plan and an account, and when that John hits 15 million, they're building a school. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I want to walk on eggshells in general when it comes to our expectations of anyone. It's the same thing as the government too. It's like, I don't expect anything from the government. You know what I mean? And because expectation is going to lead you down for it's going to set you up for disappointment.
I agree with that completely. I agree.
Because if you expect something that's not already lined up, then you could be figuring something else out with that time. Like, right. if you really think it's coming and you don't know it's coming, then what you going to do when it don't happen? You could have been figuring something else out.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a creative, so I talk like y'all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, stuff that could be behind the scenes. Like, you never know.
Absolutely. Like, no, that's why I agree with you. I think that was a good point too. But like, a lot of the times with this shit, man, there's a lot of people that's just upset at people and making excuses for them not to help. I hear our community say all the time that we don't say anything about the violence in our communities until it's a white person that kills us. That's not true. I know a bunch of people that have campaigns that run year round in this city that I've helped from time to time, and that every time I look up, they on the scene doing their thing. I bump into them. They are doing what it takes. We need to support them. That's all.
Right.
We gotta support
the other
them.
thing too, the other thing too that happens a lot is that, and this is along kind of with what I'm saying and why I'm reiterating it too, is because people like, I've noticed that like there's just so, once you become somebody, like I know that you definitely experience this. Once you become somebody that's a giver, that's gonna say yeah and sign up for every single thing that comes your way, it becomes really overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? And being able to say no becomes its own art form. And being able to figure out where you can help and what avenue to help, it becomes its own art form. Because if you spread yourself too thin, then you won't be able to reach the success that and that's something that, like, it's my hardest thing to deal with. Like I needed to have a shift in thought, because sometimes you can like fall into these spaces where you're giving too much, and you're actually stifling growth from not giving enough. And a lot of the opinions of people will be, at least for me, there's a lot of ways where I don't care about what anybody thinks. But then there's other times where I'm just like, I want to be seen as somebody who makes a difference and who cares and all that kind of stuff. And that side of you can cause you burying your own self, and burying the opportunities that you would create for yourself and everybody around you, because you're spreading yourself too thin and just bouncing around everywhere. And from the outside looking in, you know, somebody's just like, oh, so you don't care about the violence in this neighborhood? And it's just like, nah, I just, you know, I can't right now.
Like, right. You know what? So it's interesting you said that, because that's like when someone asked me maybe a month or so ago, what was my biggest flaw? And I think that my biggest flaw is I don't know how to say no, and I do spread myself thin, and I have seen where it has affected my growth and have stunted my growth, or maybe not stunted, but maybe slowed my growth if I had been focused on myself, if I had known how to say no. So that's like one of my biggest flaws. So you just pulled that right out of me.
That's been my fight with fucking music this whole time. All the studios I done built, all the people I done did business with and had the right intentions for, and all the energy I put into them situations, when it all fell apart, I was the one pushed out. And it's like, you know what? I'm not doing this shit no more. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I never actually gave up, because naturally we here today. But like, it's crazy, because I've been there so many times, because I'm a natural giver. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. If we try to figure something out, I'm going to do everything I can for the situation.
And that goes back to his statement too, where because I can definitely relate to where Mason was asking about the giver who wants to not give, because you've always been a giver as well. And I was going to say, I thought you were going to say that it affected you, because it has not. You're still a really giving. You're a good friend and a giving person. But it goes back to your statement when you were saying that giver and that giver who just gets drained. And then, you know, I've seen myself begin to think that way, because I'm a giver as well. But you can't stop, as you also mentioned. We had really good conversation. You can't stop being an example either, right? That's really important. So I appreciate your commentary with that.
The one thing I realize about me though is I'm still paying a lot of shit forward, man. So many people have done shit for me in my past that no matter how much somebody in front of me could do, I still got a wealth of things I wasn't supposed to, you know what I mean, be privy to, be around, or even be here maybe. So I'm still just paying it forward. I ain't even thinking about it like that. I've been blessed to run into people that didn't know me shit and have done for me. So I'm good, man.
Right.
Sometimes, and I try to think of that, right? Like, it's gratefulness. When you're grateful for how far you come and the opportunities and the intricacies that fill your life up, like, yo, if this moment didn't happen, I wouldn't have had this. And that was that person doing. You naturally should want to repay that. But then I'm at a stage right now where I really need to focus. Like, you know what I mean? I need to be focused on what's going to be better for everybody. Like, I can't. That part of you, the giver part and the natural to want to pay it forward, that part of you is embedded in you already, right? So you're not going to really lose that by going on a journey to accomplish a bigger goal and putting more things to the side. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm feeling that within myself. Like, and I mean, it's such a struggle. It's like one of the things that I put in prayer. Like, I literally pray for that part, to have the discernment to make those kinds of decisions that are going to be responsible for the future, and also be the thing that's going to allow growth and promote growth. Because if not, I'll just be out here just doing everything, yo. Just doing everything.
I hear a lot of wisdom though, brother. And that's why like
I do too.
and that's why sometimes what I do, like I tell people all the time, and I've been saying it since this situation that's going on right now, just let us know how you're helping people and we'll use our platforms. And if we could use some sweat equity, we'll give you some sweat equity. If I could drop off some cases of water, I'm dropping off cases of water. But I'm not the $5,000 every time you're doing something, boy. But I can help with what I got. And when I can't, I can't.
Sometimes stuff really, really well aligns with you too. Like I noticed too, like when you start doing that, the right stuff comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So like, all right, for example, like you might be the cat that's like, building your catering company, right? And you're building the catering company and everybody's hitting you up to do free meals, you know what I'm saying? Yo, for this, and you might be turning down an event. And you're thinking, well, there's too many people. There's, too many people for this event. I can't do that. The event's too far away. I don't know how I'm going to get everybody there. I'm not going to be. And then later on down the line, it might be, yo, that's right around the corner from this place. I just got an investment at this time. And you'll be able to apply yourself in the best possible way. Like what we started 2 years ago now, me and my partner, we were sitting down with our team and we realized that it was extremely important to constantly ask people what their goals are. Because you can put somebody in a position that you think is a win for them, and it's not, if it doesn't align with their goals, it's not the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we might be able to be like, okay, yo, we're gonna put you in this session with Post Malone. You don't even care about being in a session with Post Malone. You're like, yo, I'm chasing money. I'm and that's a bad example because everybody would want to work with Post Malone.
No, but I might think Post Malone might steal my shit, and he a big enough artist that I'm not gonna get my swag off first.
Right.
But that was the problem with major labels for a long time, was putting people in the rapper box that they wanted them in. Right. And then dropping them when they wasn't that.
Right. If you're not in tune with that, then it's going to, like, you're going to hit wall after wall after wall. And you kind of got to do that with yourself too, is start saying yes to the things that where you can really help out. Because it's fulfilling, right? We're all givers. As much as it's selfless, it's selfish as well, right? You feel good. Me personally, I like to have a clear conscience. I like to feel like with every person I deal with, like, okay, I got a clear conscience on how I dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? That feeling comes best when you really actually help the person. And sometimes if you like sign up for something that's like kind of out of your range, but you're just doing it because they need somebody to do it,
right?
You end up doing more harm than good.
Absolutely. As somebody that worked in the field that you worked in before, how do you feel stocks versus or in tandem with real estate?
Say that again.
How do you feel about stocks versus real estate as far as investing?
Stocks versus real estate investments? Shoot. So that's crazy that you're saying that, because I'm just starting to get into the stock market a little bit. Like I literally made the plan to, like, I got my books all lined up and everything just to learn more about it. Word. I don't know as much as I should about the stock market at all. But I follow people who are like really deeply delved into it. And it's shaky. You know what I mean? Real estate, I feel like is always a safe bet.
Mm-hmm. But the potential of the game is stock.
There's something about real estate that really special that people should think about, and it's patience. Mm-hmm. If it's an investment where you're just gonna, right, so let's say you're saving to buy a property, you can just, depending on whether or not you want it to be like, a commercial space or residential space, or you're buying your first property to live in, any of those things, mm-hmm. You can just keep adding to your savings and wait for the perfect situation. And so like a lot of my clients were people that really accrued their wealth when they learned that. When they said, we don't take any good deals, we only take great deals.
Word.
Digging deep and doing the extra work for it. So for me personally, especially because of the connections I have, it's real estate all the way as far as an investment. Word. But I want to look into the stock market more and learn more things. I got this guy, his name's Sam Wiki. who's like a Vegas guy. I follow him, and you know, he gives a lot of great tips. And he started hosting like these Zoom classes and everything too on the weekends. So you know, I want to be more in tune with that, but I know more about real estate, so I would say real estate. But
I mean, I would think real estate, but go ahead, Si.
I want to. I also have, you know, I'm an accountant person as well, and I know I have real estate, know about real estate, and I want to say that generally speaking, real estate always appreciates. That stock market is a gamble, right? So I feel like generally speaking, it is a safer bet. You do have to have patience. I think you have to have patience with either of them because you got to know when to get in, when to get out, what to acquire, what to purchase.
Be able to hold out.
But the safer bet, and always for me, always profitable bet. I mean, you can take losses depending on if you're doing flips and all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, I want to say real estate too. I just want to put my little 2 cents.
Well, we also live in Philly, so it's easy for us to
say that. Right? Yeah. Exact. I was going to get to that. I was about to say that's regional.
But it depends on where. I was about to say, but it also depends on where. So although where you live, that doesn't have to be where you are purchasing either.
Absolutely.
Like people are out in Ohio and other people. There's a lot of places where it's.
Now I've been listening to a lot of people talk about buying real estate in other states recently, and I've been hearing about just different breaks you get certain places and what's open and what nobody's paying attention to.
They still got you know what? You know I love giving people information. They still got dollar houses,
Yo, I just saw this Baltimore article today. I'll tag y'all in it. This recycling abandoned houses, John. The program crazy.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
I say go with the real estate.
I dump every penny I have into this sucking funnel called music.
Ah!
And I'll tell you right now, that takes the most patience. Out of all the investments,
I can relate to that. Trust me, I can relate to that with my media platform. It's kind of very similar. I would agree with that. On the Scene magazine, I have a positive platform, digital magazine, and it takes time. Like you were saying earlier, Rube, or saying with people who the overnight sensations. I don't really know if they understand what goes into people that don't get it overnight. And I don't even know if any overnight sensations, because I don't know if they had the longevity. I don't even know, like the one hit wonders, we don't really remember.
And a lot of times you don't know how long it took nobody to get there. Like it's that lightning in a bottle shit. There's super talented people and there's some people that strike fucking oil. It just is what it is. Like you can't gauge yourself against that. When you're working towards something that you're supposed to perfect as a craft, a talent, and a career, you can't limit it to 3 years and I'm done.
Right.
I mean, listen, it's awesome to like be an artist and be like 15 years old and pop on your first song and blow up. But you know what's also great? Just like being born to like a hedge fund manager. Like, you know, parents are hedge fund managers. Like, you know what I mean? Like those, it's like that Chris Rock joke. I bring this joke up all the time because it's so classic. He's just like, you know, I live in this neighborhood. And he's like, I'm one of the greatest black comedians of all time. And, you know, next door neighbor is a dentist.
Not the best dentist in the world. Just a regular dentist.
Just a dentist, yo.
He's just a dentist.
And so like that's another version of rolling the dice too. Like, you know, I know, but like I said, man, there's pitfalls to all of that. You know what I mean? Like growing up, you might not be as cultured. You might see the world tainted. You might have we don't know, man. Everybody's got to deal with their own thing.
Everybody has to live within their means, I believe. And I believe like even like the little stuff. Like I heard Earthquake, since we're talking about comedy, he said that he was done paying child support 2-3 years early because knowing that he was a comedian and he wasn't guaranteed the same income every year, he overpaid. So he didn't live beyond his means. He actually overpaid a bill repeatedly so that when his means weren't such, so you can imagine what he did with what he was doing for himself. I think that's important.
I've had that save me a couple times. I've done that in a couple different ways, a couple times, and it saved me big time, like really big, like because but the thing is that he probably had to experience the ups and the downs both to know that, you know, sometimes when it's good, it doesn't mean that it's going to be good forever.
Ever. Mm-hmm.
And he did that. And it's earthquake, so like it did last for him. A bill that he didn't have to worry about.
I think the industry and comedy, well, in general, might have taught him that lesson, right?
That is the industry.
Just make it right. I think that was a lesson in itself.
That's the industry.
So
like
a musician, just like a musician.
Every month don't look the same for Mason on his stubs, on his on his bank report. Never.
No, there's scary differences. Most people would be like, "What?" You gotta just move in faith, and you just gotta move and accomplish your goals, and move as long as you're moving forward in some way, you know what I mean. And the mastering the pivot, surviving the music industry is all about. You take the doors that are open, not not just the ones that you want to walk through. You know what I mean? It's kind of the opposite of that whole giving thing. I wanted to, while we're still in the comedy thing, I wanted to ask you, what podcasts do you follow?
Me, I follow OLF podcast, which is the homies. I follow Joe Button podcast, 85 South podcast, Up in Smoke podcast. I watch a lot of podcasts, bro. I watch Joe Rogan, depending on who he's talking to, and he's the GOAT. I watch YouTube more than I watch TV, bro.
Right.
So okay. I got a lot of them.
Hot boxing with Mike.
Yeah, I watch hot boxing every week. Yeah. I love Mike, man. We gotta love Mike, man. That's Mike.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like
most of those too. I think the only one I watched that you probably don't watch, and I showed you before, is Hip Hop Uncensored. I kind of like watching those guys too.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I watched all those other ones you mentioned. You took everything out the park from me.
Yeah, I watch a lot of those too. And I watch. No, I just feel like there's a certain.
Drink Champs.
Oh
Hated.
yeah.
What was that?
Drink Champs, Nori joint.
Oh, okay.
You know it's crazy, and I don't want to sound like an asshole, but you know how this shit go creatively. When he started his shit, I was like, he stole my fucking idea. It was an idea for a long time before I had the means to produce it. Like most of the shit that we do. But it was just like, when he did it, it was like, damn it, nigga. Somebody told on me. But no, it's cool.
I mean, you got it. I'm sure for you, it's like, oh man, like people, because since it's bigger, people think that you're the one biting. I would be pissed. I would definitely be pissed about that.
But you know what? Every I don't emulate his style of what he does, and everything exists on every level. And I'm not Nori, but on my level, I could bring in people that Nori might not necessarily bring in, and I'm still somebody where I'm at. So we gonna keep it moving and just provide good content. So I really don't worry about it, but I did have that thought, like, damn, people might think I'm trying to piggyback off his thing, but my brand is my lifestyle, so it's really not a thing.
Going into that, man, I've had one of those moments. It's a little bit more blatant. I wrote a song like over 10 years ago. And I know that this one producer heard it, and he made a song. It's a very pop song, and it's a real specific song that I wrote. And the song came out, and it's got like,
who on it? Jeremiah?
Nah, man, this is like a pop record. I don't even want. I don't want to say one day I'm coming for the money, because
I know
I had to look it up. I went back into my emails to make sure I still had the emails and everything, but I thought the song was just kind of big, and then I was in the studio talking about it one day, and I decided to look it up, and it was really, 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 really big. And so in the podcasting world, all right, where do we draw the lines between influence and stealing?
In the podcasting world, it's not as direct as music anyway, because personality has so much to do with it. Right. When you talk about writing a song or building and creating an energy for music, then sometimes you give somebody some shit that they can emulate one time, and keep doing it as a record, but they can't carry that on week after week after week after week after week. Like I've done, and you know this about me, I've done 3 platforms at once. I've done Sippin with Sammie, I've done FM radio and internet radio. And though I had to conduct myself 3 different ways depending on where I was at, I still was me in every room.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people, like, if you tell somebody to make a hit and they make a hit based off of somebody else's hit and you tell them make another hit,
And they,
okay, so make another Hove.
another one, right?
Like, that's how I feel about it. It's different with podcasting because it's so personality based. And like my idea from the Giddy Up was to have me, my comedian homie, be my bartender / co-host, and his brother was actually the videographer and the editor. So it was gonna be cool, and we was gonna do what we do now. Travel, and if you had a bar, backyard, stoop you want us to pull up to, we was gonna pull up there, we was gonna get it in and have our own conversation. But when that fell through because the comedian went from a teacher to a principal, and you know that's a different world for him. So I'm like, you know what? Congratulations, do your thing, brother. My next idea was to get a female, and I wanted to get my homegirl Saf, but Saf was building her brand at the time. So when it got to the point where I could finally do it, it actually turned out to be perfect timing. And without telling Saf, I swindled her into becoming my co-host. I put her on air and she loved it. She seen herself and was like, yo, that was dope. Let's do it again. I said, I knew it.
Yo, the swindle, sometimes you gotta, convince people into what's great for them.
When you see, exactly, I saw something in her. I know how she is.
That's funny.
That's exactly what it was. That's
Mhm.
what he said. Like you saw something in me that I really like. I always wanted to be behind the scenes. I never wanted to be on camera. So for him to be like, come through this one time, and I was like, he said, I was like, oh, okay, and I had a good time. But then when I actually saw it, I was like, wait a minute, I said that. That was kind of dope. Like I said, it was kind of smart. Like
Yeah. So when it comes to potting, that's the only reason I think that it's different than music, because you can't emulate personality, energy, timing, rhythm, content, intelligence. It's so many levels that come into play when you have to talk for an hour straight, 2 hours straight,
Now,
3 hours straight.
Did you want to integrate the drinking part of it for the same reason as Drink Champs? Because Nori's like, we did it so that way people get loose and start talking crazy.
Not for them to talk crazy, but for the comfortability of the conversation. I knew that a lot of the people that I wanted to talk to and would not have to talk to, but would wind up talking to would be artists or creatives. And a lot of the times they don't do the best interviews.
Right.
But you give them a shot or two, man.
Right,
but my thing was like with Nori, which was good for him because that's how he built it up, because it's Drink Champs. He made sure you drank. I don't gauge how much anybody drinks on my shit.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking at it like, oh, let's take a shot now or whatever, which, like, because it's not a competition. I just want you in your zone. If you don't drink, get a ginger ale, smoke your cigar, you know what I mean? Whatever have you, but I want you in your comfort zone. And I want you to know that I'm not interrogating you. This isn't an interview. This isn't about current events. This is to teach people how to have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what was your most heated moment?
I haven't had any on my show. My most heated moments have been on other people's show.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
because I don't try to win. My thing is to present my case, let the other people present their case, and it's for the listener to figure out the rest of that stuff. Because we talk about a lot of stuff that may be, politics, religion, whatever may come up. These are things are controversial. So you have to draw the line between trying to win an argument and just trying to present a conversation.
Right.
And
Yeah,
me and
that's a skill.
Saf know that.
That's a skill, because I know if I got like a couple drinks in me and people like start trying to say like dumb shit about something important, like, you know what I mean? I feel like I would be like, I would be into too many arguments.
When it's your platform and you don't edit shit, what you realize is the people gonna see them for who they are. It's not your job to exploit it. They just heard that shit. They damn self.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't gotta fight nobody on my platform to prove that I'm against it. I already said my position, or I'm gonna say it right after them. But I'm not fighting to win. That's just like
Right.
crazy. And as far as like having a couple shots in me, I am sipping with Sammie. I drink.
Right.
I've never been wasted on this platform. I'm good. I handle mine well.
And I out drink you.
Yeah, and she crazy. So, and she a former bartender, part-time. I don't know, whenever she need a couple extra dollars, it's the right people call. When Adidas call, she bartending. But like we drink. Like I'm not tripping. I don't get upset just because I'm drunk. That's just crazy.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm watching Nori, right? Like Nori's joint is hilarious because like he has some podcasts that he does where he's stone sober, and then he has other ones where you're just like, Nori, you need to go somewhere.
He's obliterated. He tried to ask the same question 4 times every 15 minutes and don't remember he asked it and can't say it either time, and it's hilarious.
You don't mind it. You really don't mind
but
it.
But Nori is Nori. Like we've so always loved Nori.
Yeah, he's lovable, man. Like I remember when the Nothing video came out, like sitting in front of the TV and just like doing the like dance, like you know what I mean? Like that's that's later. That's even later on, Nori. But it's just
I was say right because I was on this. I was TONY, invade and Y. That was my
right. Right. So it's like, he fell into his gift, man. He fell into his gift really, really nicely, man. It's a great thing to see that.
And since we're on a podcast and we're talking, and I wanna explain to somebody what he does well that a lot of people don't recognize. Nori, since Nori is Nori, he has no problem admitting on his platform that he doesn't understand something, that he doesn't know something, and sometimes he even plays dumb. But at the same time, a lot of people get these platforms and they try to drill their philosophies down your throat.
Right.
Or they try to prove that they're not slipping or that they didn't lose or that they don't whatever. When at the same time, you'll say something and Nori will say, I don't know that word. And then, you know what I mean? And he's forth, like he humbles other people because he humbles himself to not always try to be that guy. That goes back to what we was talking about earlier. Like, that's why he succeeds, because as much as it's his platform and he knows as much as he knows, he doesn't mind telling you he doesn't know.
Joe Rogan does the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's constantly like, he's constantly just putting it out there like, no, I don't know. Like, I crack up when like, he's just like, oh yeah, don't listen to me. Like,
yeah,
don't get your information from me. It doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? He's like 98% of what I say is bullshit, and it's not. He's giving out bad news.
But he'll attribute it to the fact that he's a Neanderthal. He'll be like, I'm just this big ogre guy.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, he's always going back to that, and it's kind of exactly what you were saying too about the playing dumb part. Like, you know, sometimes he's playing dumb, and sometimes he knows he's really talking game, and then like, you know, gets and. Nori delivers his game in like such an uncle ass way. Like there's no other way to put it,
bro.
You know what I mean? It's just Nori, like, you know what I mean? He's just
he East Coast Snoop when it come to that.
Yeah.
When it come to that, when it come to breaking up beefs, when it come to all that type shit, he the East Coast Snoop on the low.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Personality on the beam, but that's the thing, and that's what I say.
Well, we saw Snoop lose his shit and go too far recently. With the whole Gail thing.
I was gonna say Gail.
Snoop is too grown to be snapping like that.
I agree, but at the same time, that was on the dead home. Like, I mean, like,
no, of course, and it's really sensitive. Like I can understand why he lost it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you know, it's what's going to take you out of your composure. You know what I mean?
You've been in this shit 30 years. You know better.
Like, we know his history. We know, like, you know, where he comes from and how he acts. You know what I mean? Like, and he's in. I mean, the thing about fame is like.
I was about to get to that. That's what I was.
Nori's on his podcast, but he ain't Snoop. Like, Snoop walks out of the house, it's 20 cameras on him at all times, everywhere he goes at all times. And he has he has better composure than pretty much anybody. You know who I really look up to when it comes to that? And it's ironic, like, you know, thinking of that situation specifically is Shaq. Shaq is like just one of the most well media trained.
Ain't they the two most recognizable in they field though?
Yeah, absolutely. Like recognizable in the world in general. Like
Snoop can't put a hat on and not be Snoop. The hair gonna be there, the face gonna be there. Drake could put a hat on and look like half the niggas in Poppy Land.
Right.
He really can. Snoop is he's a whole different level. Like he can go. We had a big debate on this, at the studio one day, and the point was brought up like Snoop could go to China or any like the smallest places, and he walks through, and they're gonna be saying Snoop. They might not know any words, any lyrics. Doesn't matter about that, but they're gonna say Snoop, 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 and he's gonna cause a frenzy. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Shaq. Shaq, you know what I mean? Shaq might not even be in the top 10, but you're gonna see Shaq, and people just gravitate towards him. They both make people feel comfortable. They make people feel loved.
That's what I was about to say. It's a big energy thing with them too. I was about to say that. I'm glad you touched on that. It's an energy thing too.
Shine, and those two guys, they shine. I mean, like I was lucky enough to open for Snoop, and the charisma, like just the walk.
That's very charismatic.
And he always had it.
It's just it's palpable, like you know what I mean. Like when they say you could cut the tension with a knife, it's like he got a barrier around him. In general, you know what I mean, like a love barrier. It's really weird to come in contact with people like that and just see like, yo, you're like kind of like you're the new version of like apostles. You know what I mean? Because really they're preaching love. They're going around preaching love. They're healing people in different ways. You know what I mean? They're making like comedians, same thing. Dave Chappelle's another one. You know what I mean? Dave like when you see Dave, I don't know about everybody else. When I see Dave, it makes me smile. Like you don't have to. Absolutely. Well,
Dave actually, like we've seen Dave be great. Then we seen Dave say "fuck y'all," fall all the way back, stand on his morals, and we respected him for that. Then we saw him come back and whoop they ass, being Dave. And all you got to give him is a glass, something that he can smoke, and a microphone, and he's burning the spot down every single fucking time, yo.
Right.
Like, you got to respect that as a black man. My damn, but one thing you said earlier, though, like, and people don't even realize this, you don't get a 2 Chainz without a Snoop. Because when 2 Chainz was trying to figure out how to be the 6'5" nigga on stage and not look goofy, who tapes you think he watched?
Right.
He watched Hove. He watched Snoop. He watched them No Limit niggas. Because they all talk. Their whole family talk. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what he did. But no, man. This is a great conversation. I'm having fun with y'all. And it ain't the cognac talking.
I'm enjoying the convo.
But no, one thing I want to know, like, we got off of you, which is cool, because like I said, this is about conversation. But before, we get too in the conversation, goals wise, like, what's your what are you looking towards doing that hasn't been done? What are you lining yourself up to do that you can speak on? That you know what I mean? That's not something that people are aware of.
Right. Well, one of the things is while on quarantine, I wrote a musical, and it's crazy watching Crooked Eyes podcast.
Great pod too.
And I saw his interview with Black Thought. And Black Thought is working on a Broadway musical. He's been working on one for 6 years.
Yes, he has.
And that told me that I was going in the right direction. I've been really focused on books and screenplays. Just learning as much as I can about the industry and writing as I go, because my main focus is music, right? So I do this in my spare time to just like learn more and more. So I listen to a lot of lectures and stuff on film and about writing, and I've been writing all along, and I finally felt like I kind of got decent enough to like be able to share it. Because like as a writer, I feel like I put the 10,000 hours in. You know what I mean? So I wanted to try to put more and more hours in the script writing. And so then in quarantine, I looked at some of the ideas that I had started, and I thought about, what would be the thing that makes the most sense to make, like something that makes sense for my position right now, my team, what we're all doing. And I had this idea for a musical, kind of reinventing the musical experience. Because like Hamilton, I hate Lin-Manuel Miranda, right? like this guy.
I was going there, but go ahead. I'm gonna touch on that when you done. Go ahead. I was going to
Yeah,
Hamilton. Go ahead.
I don't want to say I hate the guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean I hate him. But what I don't like is what the praise that Hamilton got and the level of cultural appropriation. Like, and the way that it happened was just weird. It's like, yo, just because your last name is Manuel Miranda doesn't mean you're not a white passing dude that
Right.
just took these hip hop elements and then like sucked all the life out of them. You know what I mean? And it just rubbed me the wrong way, especially because it's my thing. I don't think he did that with that intention. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. And then like he gets praised as like this incredible writer and lyricist, and it's just like,
no way, that's not it.
Like, I can't wait to see Black Thought's joint. Black Thought is going to be untouchable. And he's starring in it too. He said, he had to do it because the song, people would audition and they could never hit everything like how he does it. So he had to play it. And we'll go into like that topic, because wait till I tell you what the topic is. If you ever heard what his Broadway play is about, oh my God. But basically I had this idea, and so I just said, hey, yo, I'm in quarantine. Like, this is the time to do all the stuff that you can't normally do. That I wish I had more time for stuff. And so I wrote that. And I'm in the process right now of just having it reviewed by different people on my team and people outside of my team, and just reading it and looking into the logistics of bringing that to life.
Dope.
So that's something that's like an immediate future.
That's dope.
And then I'm just working on a bunch of projects with some LA producers and writers that are going to come out with names that are not mine, like just like little group names and stuff like that. And then I released an album back in November. So that's still kind of going hard. I got some videos that are going to be coming.
Shout the name out, bro. Say the name.
Right.
Oh, Compromised. Yeah, my album is called Compromised. You can get that on all platforms. It's M11SON. And then Compromised, which is just R&B mixed with hip hop. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of a new take on the neo soul part of Philly, and just bringing that out there, it's my first singing project. Everything else I've ever done was like rap. And you know, I just rebranded everything with the M11 instead of just being a regular Mason. And so that album came out in November, and I've been dropping a bunch of singles throughout the fall and winter, and I dropped one here and there. I'm sitting on so much music. It's a crazy amount of music right now.
I believe you.
It's all about,
I believe you.
Yeah, a lot. Because I do a lot of genres, but it's all about strategy right now with the team and figuring out which songs best go with the album, what songs go with the opportunities that we have, and then start creating like a understandable narrative. Because I have like a lot of weird sounding like pop music and stuff, but like a lot of my fan bases are hip hop people.
Right.
A lot of people that tune into me, and I still got some dope records. So I got a record tomorrow. I'm doing a live stream on my IG. That's at 6:00, where I'm checking in with artists and they're playing unreleased stuff. And I'm gonna get to finally, like, you know, some people get to hear I got a record with T3 from Slum Village and Jadakiss. And that record, like, it's a great record. The way that it's my guy Tone that put that together. And so I have that record will come out next month on. His name is Alexi. His project's coming out. He's a real funk singer. He's got a lot.
I know Alexi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Alexi songs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good people. So he did his project over at Breed with us. A lot of Boots Green did a lot of the production on there. Denard Watson, a bunch of people. Dope. And then Warner, he executive produced the album. It's really dope. He actually put like a 10-minute clip of videos together for each song. You could check that out on his IG. But yeah, right now
you got a lot going on.
He always do, Saf. Yo, he be Saf. He vicious.
Yeah,
no,
go ahead. I've been just creating a lot over the years, and now I'm ready to rebrand. Keep dropping stuff that in the right order. I don't want to go. A lot of things are in the air right now. You know what I mean? As far as what kind of deals and situations I'm going to be taking. But I'm just going to keep on releasing music and building the brand, and hopefully get back to doing shows.
As thou should, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe looking like August.
Yo,
Fun
it's looking
fact,
crazy right now.
Sam.
Huh?
Fun fact about Alexi. I saw Alexi. I guess last year. I think he was like on a tour doing like 25/8. It was like an East Coast tour he did.
Yeah, Diner Tour.
Yeah, and so the Diner Tour, right? So I covered that in the magazine. And fun fact is someone who we went to elementary and middle school with was the drummer for Alexi, Sonny the drummer,
Sonny.
Tiana.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I knew it was Sonny.
You know what? So it's just a fun fact. Such a small world. We
No,
always
that's
talk
dope
about the
because she
degrees of
family.
separation.
For the record, Mason, the drummer is family, and I see her often.
Shout
Actually, I've hugged her recently, so that's love.
Yeah. So it was just a fun fact of how it's just a
No,
not
but
small world, small city.
one thing I thought about is when you mentioned Hamilton and then you mentioned Black Thought, it's right parallel to what I was telling people and a lot of the battle rappers that I know, as far as Hamilton opened up the door for more of that, but for it to be more authentic, and for it to be more authentic, I think idea of mine is you incorporate battle rappers that know how to do performance rap already.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So for these movies that's going to come, these plays that's going to come, these commercials, they need to include these battle rap. That's where they can get paid at, because they don't just perform it on track. They literally are standing up there going back and forth, kind of like, you know what I mean? It's the same shit.
It's also a form of acting. Like what they're doing it's performance art, but it's also acting. And so they have that element. Yeah, basically that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make this, for one, I wanted to make the soundtrack like, I didn't want it to be like, like, you know, like corny music.
Right.
And make the soundtrack just be like, sound like records, but have the story part. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you that.
And then like, I wanted, instead of having an orchestral pit, we got to actual, like have a band, like a band that's like in a certain pocket, playing along with the tracks. You know what I mean? I want DJs at the intermissions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want like Hennessy and soul food.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like, popcorn and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And for everybody to still be dressed up, but then like for the ballads to feel like it's just Beyonce. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a Beyonce ballad. Like, you know what I mean? Breaking it down like that instead of like kind of sucking the corniness out of it. And the whole idea in general is just more like it's just like a hood story. It's really just a hood story, but in play form. Because I think also one of the, like a lot of plays just like kind of take themselves too serious. Now I'm not going
all the way goofy, right?
You know what I'm saying in this, but because like I want the art form to be really high. So like I have a narrator that kind of ties it together, which is doing poetry and like stand-up comedy mixed. You know what I mean? To bring the show around, just have the elements of the things that we love in our entertainment fields, rather than like this half-ass way to incorporate only like what they see as esteem. You know what I mean? Because if nothing else, the reason why Black entertainment is the culture, is the American culture, is because we know how to have fun.
Right.
Flat out. Like that's it. Like we know how to have fun. So if you're doing any form of entertainment, go back to what we do when we're just sitting around. Like, you know what I mean? When we're just having fun.
Right.
And that's what I want to do with the musical. It's, you know, the virus is going to really dictate whether or not this is something I'll do in the very near future or not. You know what I mean? But that is something that I'm working on right now.
Might have to open up the possibility to filming it first before you be able to do it live. But whatever is the best situation for you. We get short on time, so I want to make sure that you let everybody know how to book time with you, how to find everything that you have out there, how to get in contact with you, how to whatever you got going on. Let them know right now so that they can follow you and get it popping with you.
Right. I use Instagram for almost everything. It's M11SON, M11SON. You can just direct message me if you want some studio time at Breed. If you need any kind of artist services, like whatever, you know what I mean? We do it all. From graphics, marketing, photography, videography, production, mixing, literally everything you could need. And then I personally do songwriting. So, you know, if you want to hit me up, for rates and songwriting. I don't work with just any artist, but you know what I mean. Hit me up and let's see.
Open that budget up.
We can talk about it. Yeah. I would love to say this in a public platform rather than like behind the scenes, but like if I hit you with a super super high number, that's the polite way of me saying
I'm all right. I want you to say no.
Right. Yeah, so but yeah, I do all different kinds of songwriting, and I love just like connecting great creatives, and we try to welcome everybody, man, everybody in, and people that are passionate about music, man. Breed is not the studio. Don't book time at Breed and not love music.
Yeah, don't come in there playing either, because everybody liable to be walking through there and they ain't worried about you.
As much as I love you to waste your money with me, don't do that.
But look though, man, I want to salute you once again. We appreciate your time, bro. I know how valuable your time is even in the quarantine, because you could do whatever you need to do from a laptop. But salute to you, much success, much more blessings, and let me know how we can help whatever you got going on, man, or whatever we need to figure out. And I might want to be in a musical or something. I don't even know.
Yo, for sure. And thank you, man. Thank you for having me on and taking your time to do this all the time, just highlighting the different people that need to be highlighted in the city, and just continuing to get the word out. The consistency of it, man. I think that's the hardest part, and you got that nailed down. And obviously the cadence and everything else. So
I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.
But I'll talk to you soon, and we're gonna shoot the next one at Breed Studios as soon as we get out of here.
All right, see you guys later.
My man.
All right, take care. It was a pleasure.
Yo, Sap.
Yo, I'm in the building. My building.
I swear to God, we starting with your other ad-lib. But no, we just had a great conversation with Mason, man. Shout out to Mason for tapping in with us, man. Like I said, everybody assume that everybody that's quarantined ain't busy. He's a brother that keeps busy, and he had time to have a great conversation with us.
Busy. When he was laying it all out, I was like, well, damn, like, he's busy. Like, he's a great example of how to make this time, like, valuable.
Yeah, well, I talked to him a little bit before you tapped in. By now, the people seen it. And we talked about a little bit of his background, but the more he talked, the more he tells about what else he has going on. Like, it's so much that it's like you gotta salute somebody that makes the most out of the 24 hours a day. Like they say, we all got the same 24.
And I appreciated his perspective too. Like, I appreciated his thought process and the way he was like, just he had valid points and just different ways of thinking than the norm. Like, a lot of people are followers. I could definitely see that he was an independent thinker.
Absolutely.
And I appreciated that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. But it's funny because he touched on so much stuff that me and you both pride ourselves on. We try to better ourselves towards. Like, we ain't perfect at it, but we know it's necessary type shit.
For sure.
And it's just proof that everybody that we speak to, no matter what walk of life or what they trying to accomplish, the ones that are being successful and the ones that are walking around without a chip on their shoulder, they doing, they're doing the same things. They're doing the same kind of things. They're facing the same obstacles as everybody else, but they're looking at it different, and they're trying to figure out a way around it. They're trying to add on to their repertoire and their arsenal, and they're trying to help other people. And that's so much important, like, to me. Just to me. Who the fuck am I? But to me.
No, agree. I definitely agree wholeheartedly. This coronavirus got me like...
You got the corona?
No.
Oh. I was about to say, don't start announcing that shit on here.
No, my niece does.
God
like
bless.
I said, my folks, she was fine at 1:00 yesterday, and then at 3:00 she collapsed and then had a heart attack, and now on the ventilator.
Damn it.
It's a lot, over 24 hours, we might be making plans, so it's just crazy.
Well, you got my prayers and wishes, and I'm here. Just hit me up. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, fam.
And shit, you ain't even had to share that with the people, so I'm sure they appreciate that. So I'll shout you out for
it's
that.
just crazy. Like, this coronavirus is just crazy. That's why we in the position that we in, and I'm not sitting next to you. So, clearly we still going through this.
Well, I got the bottle you bought me.
Ow.
Gallon.
But yeah, no, it's just real out this joint. It's just real. That's all.
No, it is. But
Yeah.
we
But
gonna
back
get.
to the conversation, huh?
I said we gonna get through it together like everything else. But go
Exactly.
ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Back to this conversation, like Mason just uplifted me because like he making the best out of this time, and I enjoyed the conversation. So this was definitely a dope one.
What we say, man, we are our resources, man. We are our
Mhm.
network. Like, and at the end of the day, he's one of the ones that he understands and respects what we trying to accomplish, and he acknowledges
sure.
it enough that he dedicated time while he's doing what he's doing. And like, if you listen to the list of things he got going on, and that musical shit is major, but like,
Mhm.
he don't waste no time. He's not wasting time.
Right.
And I think that that's important to see. I think that people don't understand how much you can do if you apply yourself. You got a couple extra hours every day, depending on how you schedule your sleep
Right.
and your free time.
Well, it depends. Because I feel like the way that you mean during this time or just generally speaking?
Not you, because you're somebody that's always had.
I'm about to say I don't feel like I ever.
No,
depend,
you
like,
always had extra shit going on. A lot of people.
I get like 4 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, a lot of people ain't like that. A lot of people is like, I need 8. It's cool, catch your 8. But before you go to sleep, what do? Do you worry about this? Do you work on your mental health? Do you work on a project?
Right.
Do you add energy towards your future? Do you try to be creative? Do you meditate? Like, what do you do with them couple hours that's between what you gotta do and your sleep hours? And what do you do when you wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep?
That's really like right now. I feel like I think a lot of people's sleep patterns is off right now. And it's really interesting that you said that because I've been doing some research or whatever. Like I haven't just been busy on Instagram or social media. I'm definitely like educating myself in some kind of way, even if it's a documentary or just reading the new whatever it is or working on my own stuff. Because usually I'm doing some research for the next project that I'm trying to work on. So. It's just important you said that, but that just came along. The first 2 weeks I was just on Instagram at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but now you can get up, go in the office or wherever, and you're not going to disturb somebody at because everybody don't got an office. I'm sure you do, but and then you could figure something out till you pass out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that when we don't have the same restrictions as far as time the next day, maybe we need to open ourselves up to that while we can do it. Because I was telling people to do that in the past, and I've been trying to make better efforts of it. Trust me, I'm a product of what I'm talking about. Like,
right, and not even just my own, like not even the professional things or my branding or anything like that. Like I also been using this time to like declutter and like physically declutter, and I think that helps me for my mental health. Like I clean my garage, I clean my storage, I'm cleaning my closets, like. For me, it makes me feel better, even though I can't even see that on a day-to-day basis. They're in closed doors, but it makes me feel better just knowing that I'm cleaning out clutter, and I'm, it's a healing thing for me. It's definitely therapeutic.
No, all of that shit counts, man. All of it counts. I believe in all of that on some real shit. Like I told people in the last few weeks, I'm trying to get coloring books. I'm trying to ride my bike. I'm trying to just do shit so that I can breathe.
I'm about to get a bike too,
and get back to the business because my mind never stops focusing on the business and the hustle.
Right.
And the grind. Like I don't know how to get out of that, but if I'm coloring, maybe it'll come to me a little smoother when I'm not concentrating on it. I don't know. I'm weird that way, but we all have our thing. You know what I mean? That's why I said that people meditate and people, everybody got their thing.
Yeah, for me, I've been exercising a lot.
Super Slim Saf.
Listen, I'm about to be all the way snap backing.
They gonna be looking like she ain't got no children.
Right?
They already looking at
like,
you
they
like
gonna be
that.
like 2 kids where?
2 kids where? 2 kids ain't never looked this good.
But yeah, no, I just been taking a lot of time. I feel like just focusing on myself is important, So I've been focusing on that and focusing on what I eat and working out a lot. So I'm mad it's been cold and rainy. I haven't ran. But...
We gonna be all right.
I heard that.
No, but
Oh, you see that head nod with that?
yeah, that shit was like
hard.
it was like I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, you right. I gotta be like squad. I gotta be like them.
Squad. Shout out to them brothers, man. Squad. Yo, real squad 215. Oh my guys. And Lil Pump. I'm gonna need you to holler at Real Squad Velcro, man. And you know why. Holler at him. Game a feature. Game acknowledgement. Acknowledge my youngin', man. That's not cool. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm riding for the squad. That's not cool. I don't know Lil Pump. I know I've been watching them perform that song for a long time before the fucking blogs picked up Pump doing it in his car. That's all I'm gonna say.
True.
But Saf, let the people know where to get with you at, man. Let them know how to, you know what I mean?
So, you can find me on the scene at onthescenemagazine.com, your positive format and lifestyle magazine for everything you want, from business, fashion, style, entertainment, music, sports, everything from a positive perspective. So holla at your girl at onthescenemagazine.com.
Word. Appreciate you, Queen. Keep it safe out here. Tell my nephews I said what's happening. Tell the husband I said what up. And we gonna talk to you soon, man. And it's greater later, baby.
Asked me, can they see this? They asked when they was gonna be able to see this one, so I let them know.
Well, you better pick your most. Yeah, you pick which one you want them to see.
This one they can see.
Squad.
All right, bro.
All right.
Wish I could say that I'm sorry for all of my sins. Feels like I'm racing Ferraris on foot, but I put in my steps, get under my skin. Been doing this for like 50 years. No hot summers with these city girls. Bad boy living up in Diddy World. I was in the street, kept getting curved. I'm the dragon in dungeon. Kurt Cobain on the brains and the function. Aim in the dungeon, get it bangs and the aim been a claim from a gang that could run shit quite like I run shit, huh? Got the crutch like sun chips, huh? In your bag, but your brown paper lunches. Now what the fuck does this sound? Y'all to pray that I hunt it down, oh. Lone wolf. Shorty acted in the phone book. Won't make me feel better, so I don't look. But I might peek, hope I haven't yet. Got a whole lot of savage left. Time to escalate, never Cadillac. Once I take the game, you can't have it back. Yeah. In my eyes, you can see the pain running till it dries. Nothing in my veins, I don't feel alive. Wanna hit big, but it's minimized. Get in line. Get in line. If you want me dead, gotta get in line. And I'm in the front, gotta get behind. When I get in line. Been in the stool for weeks, barely getting wins, but I'm losing sleep. Bumping on the fuzz like I bruised the peach. Shit so wavy, I'ma cruise the beach and boost the speakers up. Babies rockin' in the booster seats. Every beauty walk in, ask her who's the beast. Clark can't supersede. The truth is the music is too prestigious for you dudes to reach. I'm gonna lose, don't lose your teeth. I got the juice, but the juice is sweet. It ain't cool if it ain't cool to me. You can hate two, but the rule of three. So you bring two with you straight to the eulogy. I'm in the pool with Jesus, trying not to drown. Got this sound, hope you fools believe. In my eyes, you can see the pain running till it dries. Nothing in my veins, I don't feel alive. Wanna hit big, but it's minimized. Get in line.